Hey again everyone, this is Martin of the Roadcoder 1701 channel. This video isn't a devlog or anything to do with the project that I'm working on, the one that you're seeing in the background here, but it's just my thoughts on AI. I thought I'd do a little bit of a talk about it because it's been such a whirlwind of news and change and all these different things that have happened the past sort of year or two, it feels like, for me anyway. This isn't scripted, by the way. There's no yeah, like I said, there's no plan of what I was going to say, really. It was just, hey, I thought this might be an interesting thing to talk about. So I work in video games. I'm a programmer by trade, primarily a Unity developer, which is a game engine. It's used to make games. This one that you're seeing in the background is a C++ game using the OpenGL graphics API for anybody who's interested. A little prototype I'm working on. But yeah, AI anyway. What the hell? Crap, where do we start? I'm in sort of two minds about it. I don't use AI deeply at the moment in terms of I don't have like an agent. Is it agentic AI where it knows about your code base and then you tell it, hey, build this thing, and then it uses a bunch of tokens for you to and then it goes off and actually makes it for you, and you set up different agents. I don't use that. I don't use Claude. I've not even seen Claude. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know what it is roughly, but I've not used it. I use AI. I use it sometimes. I use ChatGPT for like text advice. You know, I say, hey, what does this mean? What's wrong with my code here? Can you see the problem? I'm having issues. What do you think? That kind of stuff. Or I might ask it like, hey, why don't you? Hey, what would you suggest about this system? I want let's say a C++ event system. You know, I want an assistant that lives outside of the game mechanics that isn't tied to a specific object or scene, but it's basically like a static helper class that allows you to send messages between objects, and you can just hook up to them and listen. Yada 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 yada. So that's what I'll kind of do. So no tokens, no spending money. That's no. So the thing that I think that's really cool. It's obviously like very interesting. It's something that's changing the way that we're working as developers, and the place where I've worked, we talk about it a little bit. I think the thing that irks me about AI, though, that really irks me at the moment, is all of the slop, all of the crap that's come out from AI. I got really kind of annoyed the other month, or like the past few months, of just constantly seeing AI slop, AI video crap on YouTube. That was the one that really annoyed me about it and kind of had me like a little bit divided. Was I don't want to see AI slop. The low effort, show a cat eating spaghetti or whatever, like random crap people are making, and then that got like 10 million views. I'm like, what the hell is this? Or it might be something a little bit more, say, insidious, if you maybe use that word. The Eiffel Tower on fire. Or I was watching one the other day about an underwater, what do they call them, like a submersible bell thing, where you can go to the bottom of the ocean in like this sort of like bell-shaped metal container, and then you can see the bottom of the ocean floor for like scientific research. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. About a minute and a half into it, I realized this is AI. I was like, crap. I've just been watching AI crap, and it annoyed me. It really annoyed me because I felt like I was being misled. I was. I felt like, oh, I wanted to watch something authentic. The other part of when it comes to AI, both in video land and in sort of code land, like my area of work, is there's a part of me which is like, well, one, you're not really learning, and it feels like cheating to me. That I think that's, and maybe I need to get over that. Maybe I do. Maybe I will. I probably will. But it feels a little bit like cheating to me, where if I was to say, hey, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever the heck the model or the name of it is, like, build me this C++ game where I'm shooting cubes and it has multiple levels and portals, and I have to like knock cubes into a certain area in order to unlock the next room, or I have to carry them. Game idea as I'm in the making as I'm talking about it. I would feel, and then it pumps it out within like an hour or half an hour, however long it takes. There you go, game done. Now, what else do you want me to do next? I would feel like, okay, I didn't do anything. I just cheated. I didn't learn anything. I've not improved my skills. I've also not got that slight little dopamine hit that we get as coders when we build stuff, where we make something work, or we fix a problem, or we learn something. Just that little nugget of like, oh, I didn't get this before. Woohoo! Like, oh, I don't get that hit. Like that's the way I think I would feel. Like I don't know. I've not used AI to a deep level to know if that is the case or not. So that's kind of like one of my thoughts, is like, okay, that's why maybe I'm resisting it a little bit. I'm not learning. I won't learn. It's cheating. Anyway, the other side of it is maybe I like programming. I like it. I like learning. And even though sometimes it drives me absolutely bonkers and I shove my head through the wall when I can't figure something out, I enjoy it, and I don't want that to be taken away. Like, oh, I don't have to do this. Even though I know with AI you can do, get it to do the boring stuff, and then you do the fun stuff, and you're more of the architect rather than the builder. That sort of argument, I suppose. I have a group of friends who I talk to, and they're full AI at the moment. They've been that way for the past couple of years, so that's how I get a lot of my sort of knowledge, or how it's being used. Is I'll see my friends post and they'll say, oh, I did this today with AI, and they'll come up with a bunch of AI words and talk about tokens. I go, oh, okay, I roughly get what you're talking about. They'll say things like, oh, I put together this app in an afternoon and now it's out there in the world. I'm like, holy crap, that would take me God knows how long. Like, it would take me a few months, just with the lack of spare time that I have. The lack of spare personal time that I have. I'd have to learn the tech, and then I'd have to put it together. Depending on what it is. If it's like web dev, I'm not as familiar with web dev. It would take a bit of time. Whereas with this thing that you're looking at right now, Jesus, I mean, I've written like bloody 50 lines of code, and it's taken me a month, or maybe even worse, maybe not even that. Like, it's taken me so long. I've been on this Udemy course for months, which is fine. I've been learning it. And all I've done is, the main thing is get multiple scenes loading. And that's taken me like 2-3 months. It's taken me ages. Whereas if I was to do it with Claude or whatever tool, I could say, hey, make this thing in C++, use OpenGL, and then it would be done in an afternoon maybe. And that would be so much faster. But there's just this thing in me, guys, where it's like, I feel like I'm cheating. It feels like I'm cheating. It feels slightly lazy to me to do that. Maybe I'll change my thinking in a few months or years. Maybe it'll be different. Maybe I just need to figure out where AI works for me or doesn't work. I don't know. But if somebody, okay, put it this way. Somebody says to me, hey Martin, I made this assembly language game, made this game completely in assembly language, and it's a full-on, sorry if you can hear my baby in the background there, he's moaning for something. If I made this entire game, I made this entire game in assembly language, it's an FPS, or it's a simulation game, or whatever it may be, from start to finish, and it took me 2 years to make, I'd be so impressed. I'd be like, wow, okay, the fact that you just said assembly alone is just insane. I did it all on my own, I didn't use AI, I'd be kissing their feet. Whereas if somebody says to me, oh, I'll put this together, this little, this game, this simulation game, FPS, whatever, top-down shooter, whatever it may be. Oh, and I used Claude and I got it done in an afternoon, or Unity. I used Unity AI and I got it done in an afternoon and published it. I just would not be asked about it. I'd be like, okay, all right, well, the machine did it for you. I just would not be as impressed. I wouldn't. 100% I wouldn't be. It's like when I hear about movies using AI sometimes, or the Coca-Cola AI advert. That irked me so much, guys. the Coca-Cola advert, the holidays are coming, where Santa Claus shows up and he's got the trucks and the reindeers and the little animals and all that. That was a big like advert for me when I was growing up. I loved it. It made me want to go out and buy a Coca-Cola. And it's that holidays are coming one. And they did an AI one of that recently, like a couple of years ago. And as soon as like I found out it was AI and I could tell it was AI, I was immediately like put off. I was immediately like, this has no effort. Even though it looked okay, that's the thing. It looked okay. It wasn't. It was slightly like a bit weird in places. Like I don't know if you call it. Is it the uncanny valley something effect, where it looks a little bit too weird? Something irks you about it. It wasn't that. I don't think it was the knowledge that somebody just come along and typed into a prompt, maybe in detail, this is what I want you to make, and they've just made it. The machine has just made it and pumped it out, and then everyone's been like, hey, jobs are good and let's go home now, it's only 11 a.m. whatever. The low value, the low effort just bothers me so much. There was another one that I saw with it was a guy in an airport and it was an art exhibit. He was walking around an airport and there was a small art exhibit down this little corridor, and all of it was generated by AI. So they said artist person, Joe Blogs, I don't know, whatever the person's name was, whoever. Oh, generated by whatever the art production AI tool was from OpenAI a while back. I can't remember. And I was like, why is this even being displayed? This is just rubbish. I don't want to see it. I'm not interested. It feels like low effort crap, and it just bothered me. There's no love, there's no passion behind it, there's no skill, there's no expertise. That kind of bothers me. It's like if I see artwork in a museum and somebody's just splashed a paintbrush on the canvas, and it's this art nouveau, if that's the name, I don't know, but you know what I mean, like that just kind of low effort bloody crap art. Somebody just puts like a dirty sneaker on the floor and calls it art. Like, no, this is just crap. To me, it just looks like crap. It really does. And it's the same with the art exhibit. It's the same with the Coca-Cola advert. And it's slightly the same when I see that games have been developed with AI, And there's levels to it that I am yet to figure out, and I think the world is yet to figure out, is, okay, what is the line? Where is the line, between it's a useful tool and you're using it to help improve your game or make things a little bit faster or make things a bit better, versus, well, you've just made this on a bloody, a prompt and you didn't put any effort or any love into it. There is a line. If you take, for example, calculators, maybe the mathematicians of old, who used to use pen and paper or pencil and paper, and they're like, well, there's calculators now, you don't need to do that anymore. Were they thinking the same thing? Were they like, okay, well, this is just, you're just being lazy, you're not using your brain, you're not exercising your mind, you're just using this electronic thing. And it changed the world, the calculator. It made things 10 times faster, from the big server size, massive mechanical computers which crunch numbers, to the more modern calculators of maybe the 60s, 70s, where it was like in your pocket, to today's calculators which just run your phone as an app. When that first happened, was that the same kind of thing? I don't know. I heard one guy the other day say that he used to enjoy coding in Notepad and not use an IDE because he felt like it was cheating, because it would give you a, what would you call it, IntelliSense, this jumper is not good, I need to fix that. I don't know how to fix it, but it needs to be fixed. He didn't want to use an IDE because he felt like it was cheating. There was IntelliSense in there because it would give you the name of the function, or it would tell you if something was written wrong. It would give you the squigglies, say, oh, this member doesn't exist, this member variable doesn't exist, or you're not allowed to access the object because it's not got an instantiated reference. You're trying to access an instantiated object from a static object, from a static line, whatever. Static function. And then eventually he was like, oh, yeah, this makes sense now. I get it. I'll use an IDE. Makes this isn't cheating. So I still have to use my brain. I still have to know what I'm doing. And that's maybe where it'll come in, sort of game development or the more programming scene in general is we still have to structure it. We still have to know what we're doing. We still have to be able to code ourselves by hand. But we're using that knowledge. We're still learning. We're just helping it to tighten things up a little bit, or maybe, hey, could you make this function that loops over these bunch of objects and then does something? I don't know. Or could you make me a class that pools these bullets here that you see in, and then from there you dissect it, you learn, you comment it yourself, you pull it apart, you make it more, you have abstractions, or you refactor it in some way. You know what you're looking at, you know what you're doing. And it's kind of like, I kind of, one of the anecdotes I'm kind of thinking of, or I don't know if you call this an anecdote, but if you think about a doctor, for example, would I care if the doctor was using some modern tools to fix my brain if I had some kind of brain problem? And I probably do. But if the doctor was like, oh, we're using this new modern technology to help me understand what the problem is, great, cool, yeah, absolutely. Do I think the doctor's low effort for doing that? No, absolutely not. The doctor still needs to know about the brain, and he still needs to know how to use these tools. He needs to have his education of however many decades in order to be a brain surgeon, so there's no way that's low effort. And I think we're still trying to figure that out with modern AI and agentic coding, whatever it is. And somebody who can just go online who isn't a coder and start making stuff right out of the gate and then publish it the next day, and then they start making money. I feel like, oh, that's just horrible. Whereas if that person has gone through, the hand-coded approach, they know what they're doing, they've learned how to program in C#, Unity, Unreal, they're a web dev, they've done it themselves, they know what they're doing, and they're just using this tool to help speed things up, then that makes sense, rather than just go in and say, hey, build this entire app for me, Claude, and here's all the description and the design that I want you to do. So I don't know. We're still trying to figure that out. I think for the moment, I'm not using anything kind of agentic AI. I think that's the phrase. I do use ChatGPT, so like I say, a little bit. Like in the last video I did to figure out why my vertices were not getting deleted from the GPU, and it gave me some good pointers. And then I looked up on Stack Overflow as well. And that's the other thing. Did the devs of the 90s or 80s think that Stack Overflow and the internet was cheating? I wonder, were they kind of like, well, I'm not going to use Stack Overflow or ChatGPT, I'm going to use the book and I'm going to figure it out for myself rather than get the answer online. And there's something, about using your brain in order to figure stuff out and figuring it out for yourself that flexes your mind and gives you that dopamine boost rather than going online. But at the same time, if you're really blocked, and Stack Overflow is your only option, or ChatGPT is your only option, and you learn something from it, then yeah, that makes total sense. But I'm still very. I think the video stuff just drives me nuts, guys. I think the video production slop, where it's not an actual artist behind it, there's no dedicated love and passion and hard work from a 3D artist who's put this thing together, or a 2D artist. That really irks me, that really bothers me, especially on YouTube, just all of the slop that's come into shorts and bloody, I don't know, penguins having dinner in Paris or some random rubbish like that. I just really don't want to see that crap. But people do, because YouTube surfaces stuff that people like and gets engagement. So we're still figuring it out, aren't we? We'll see. Who knows if the money bubble of AI will burst. Eventually we'll figure out where this tool works and where it lies within the game development landscape, and we'll get to a happy middle ground. Something that works well for everybody. Let's get these balls over the side here. Still, I'm playing around here. I'm figuring out the game that I'm making as I'm going. Maybe let's say we shoot the blocks or move the blocks into a particular position in order to open a door or something, and I've got to move things or stack things correctly, or would that just be too annoying? But this is fun, just clicking around and shooting physics stuff, isn't it? Physics always feels good. So, but yeah, Anyway, that was my giant ramble about AI. Guys, let me know what you think. Hope you like listening to me ramble, and I'm going to catch you in the next one. Bye bye.